Maya Griffin waited in the medical room on the space station. She had been waiting for 2 hours now. The alien doctor kept running the same tests over and over again. Each time the machine made a loud beeping sound and flashed red lights. The doctor was called Chirix. She looked like a giant insect with 4 arms and big black eyes. She kept clicking her mouthparts together, which Maya had learned meant the alien was nervous or upset. "This is impossible," Chirix said for the 10th time. She stared at the screen showing Maya's blood test results. "The computer will not accept your sample. It keeps saying the data is corrupted or contaminated." Maya tried to stay calm. She needed this medical clearance to join the crew of a ship called the Horizon's Edge. It would be the first time humans worked alongside aliens on a deep space mission. Earth had only met aliens 7 months ago, and everyone back home was watching to see if humans could fit in with the rest of the galaxy. "Can you just override it?" Maya asked. "The other humans got through the screening just fine." "I tried that already," Chirix replied. Her 4 arms moved quickly across the control panel. "But your blood is different somehow. The system is demanding a full species check before it will let you pass." Maya felt her stomach tighten. She had spent 3 years training for this opportunity. She had learned 3 alien languages, studied xenobiology, and practiced zero-gravity combat until she could do it in her sleep. She was not going to let a broken computer ruin everything. The machine suddenly made a different sound. This one was sharper, almost like a scream. The screen turned bright red and text started scrolling across it in an alien language Maya could not read. "What does it say?" she asked, stepping closer to look. Chirix backed away from the terminal. Her whole body was shaking now. "It says there has been a species classification override. The genetic markers have been recognized. Category, Deathworlder. Subcategory, Human. Threat level, Maximum." The room became very quiet. Maya could hear her own heartbeat in her ears. "What is a Deathworlder?" she asked slowly. Chirix would not look at her directly. "A Deathworlder is someone who evolved on a Class 12 or higher danger planet. These are worlds where the conditions are so terrible that only the strongest beings can survive. The whole galaxy only has 7 known Deathworlder species." "Okay, so Earth is dangerous," Maya said. "What does that mean for me?" "It means you are banned from most stations and colonies," Chirix said quietly. "Deathworlders are considered too dangerous to live among normal galactic citizens. They are restricted from many sectors of space. The Council has very strict rules about your kind." Maya felt anger rising in her chest. That is discrimination. Earth is not some nightmare world. We have cities and schools and parks. We are civilized. Chirix finally looked at her. "Your world has moving ground that causes earthquakes. It has storms that can destroy entire cities. The air you breathe would kill most species in minutes. Your gravity would crush the bones of half the beings in this station. You have animals that hunt and kill for food, and your species learned to hunt animals even bigger and stronger than yourselves." The alien pulled up more data on the screen. "Your bodies have backup organs in case the first ones fail. You can heal from injuries that would kill others. Your bones are 3 times denser than the galactic average. Your heart and lungs are built for running down prey over long distances. The computer has labeled you as a biological weapon." Maya stared at the alien. Everything Chirix described sounded normal to her. That was just life on Earth. How could that make humans dangerous? "What happens now?" Maya asked. "You must go to the Council Security Office," Chirix said. "They will decide if you can stay on the station or if you must return to Earth immediately." Maya looked down at her uniform. A red badge was now flashing on her collar. Apparently, the Deathworlder label came with a warning light, so other aliens would know to stay away from her. She left the medical room and walked down the long corridors of the station. Everywhere she went, aliens moved away from her. Some grabbed their children and pulled them back. Others closed their shop doors as she passed. A group of small blue aliens scattered and ran when she got too close. By the time Maya reached the security office, she was fighting to control her temper. She had done nothing wrong. She had not threatened anyone or acted violent. But everyone treated her like she was a monster just waiting to attack. The security chief was named Kael'thor. He looked like a walking lizard covered in scales that shined like crystals. His eyes got very wide when Maya walked into his office, and she saw him reach under his desk where he probably kept a weapon. "Lieutenant Maya Griffin." "Reporting as ordered, sir," she said, standing straight and keeping her hands visible. Kael'thor pointed to a chair. It looked much stronger than the normal furniture, with thick metal legs and reinforced supports. Please sit down. I have been reading your file. Maya sat carefully. The medical officer said Earth is a Class 14 death world. She told me Class 12 was the minimum for the Deathworlder label. That is correct, Kael'thor said. Class 12 is the lowest danger rating for the classification. Class 14 is reserved for worlds that are actively trying to kill all life on them. Only 3 other planets in known space have produced intelligent species at Class 14. Your world is the 4th. He pulled up images on his screen. The Carnathi evolved on a high-gravity world where the plants eat meat. The Drexians came from the bottom of poison oceans. The Thanrax built their civilization in volcanic wastelands during an ice age. Kael'thor looked directly at Maya. All 3 species are banned from the Galactic Council. They were too aggressive and too dangerous. When we found them, they were already fighting wars across multiple star systems. But humans are not like that, Maya said. We came in peace. We have been cooperating with everyone we met. We just want to explore and learn about the galaxy. I know, Kael'thor said. That is the only reason I have not sent you home already. But you must understand why the Council is worried. Deathworlders are not just physically stronger. They think differently because they grew up in places where everything wants to kill them. They are aggressive and territorial. They can tolerate pain and violence that would break the mind of a normal being. Maya wanted to argue, but she stopped herself. Humans did have a long history of war. They did endure things that would destroy others. Back on Earth, people told stories about humans who survived in deserts with no water, or in frozen wastelands with no shelter, or lost at sea for weeks with no food. Those stories were seen as inspirational, not scary. Am I being sent back to Earth? She asked. Kael'thor tapped his claws on the desk. That decision is not mine alone. But there is a problem, and it might change everything. The Horizon's Edge is in trouble, and the captain has asked specifically for human help. Maya leaned forward. What kind of trouble? 3 days ago, they found an abandoned ship floating in space. They sent people aboard to investigate. But the ship was not really abandoned. Something is living on that ship. Something that has already killed 5 crew members and hurt 12 more. Normal weapons and tactics have not worked. And you think a human can help? Maya asked. Captain Venn thinks that whatever is on that ship might need a Deathworlder to stop it, Kael'thor said carefully. He has read reports about human soldiers and how effective they are in combat. He believes you might survive where his people have died. Maya stood up. When do I leave? Kael'thor looked surprised. You understand this could kill you? If you fail, the Council will use it as proof that humans are too reckless and violent to join galactic society. And if I succeed? Maya asked. Then maybe the Council will change their mind about humanity. Kael'thor stood and held out his hand. The transport leaves in 2 hours. Get whatever equipment you need. And Lieutenant, good luck. Maya shook his hand gently, knowing her grip could hurt him. She left the office and headed for the equipment bay. She had 2 hours to prepare for a mission that would decide the fate of her entire species. As she walked, she thought about what Chirix and Kael'thor had said. Humans were Deathworlders. They were dangerous predators who had conquered a hostile planet through sheer toughness and determination. The galaxy was afraid of them. Maybe that fear was not completely wrong. But Maya was going to prove that humans could use their strength to protect others, not just to fight. She would show the galaxy that Deathworlders could be heroes too. She just had to survive whatever was waiting for her on that abandoned ship. The shuttle to the Horizon's Edge was small and cold. Maya sat in the back section, away from the 3 other passengers. They were civilian workers heading to the ship for regular duties. All 3 kept looking at her with nervous expressions. The red warning badge on her collar made sure everyone knew what she was. Maya ignored them and focused on checking her equipment. She had grabbed what the armory officer recommended: a plasma cutter, a sonic disruptor, and several grenades. But now, sitting alone with her thoughts, she wondered if loud weapons were the right choice. If the creature on the derelict ship hunted by sound, making noise might be the worst thing she could do. Through the shuttle window, she could see the Horizon's Edge getting closer. The ship was beautiful in its own way. It had smooth curves and elegant lines, built by a species that valued art as much as function. But next to it, connected by a tube, was the derelict. The unknown ship looked like something from a nightmare. It was made of dark metal that seemed to absorb light instead of reflecting it. The hull was covered in dents and scars from thousands of years floating in space. No light shined from its windows. No power signatures registered on the shuttle's sensors. yet something alive was inside. When the shuttle docked, Maya was the first one off. A crew member in a yellow uniform met her at the airlock and quickly led her through the corridors. Other crew members pressed themselves against the walls as she passed. Some whispered to each other in languages her translator could not understand. She caught the word Deathworlder several times. Captain Venn was waiting in the briefing room. He was tall and thin with pale blue skin that seemed to darken when he was stressed. Right now his skin was almost purple. Two other officers stood with him, both keeping their distance from Maya. "Lieutenant Griffin, thank you for coming so quickly," Ben said. His voice was formal and careful. "Please look at this." He activated a holographic display that showed a three-dimensional map of the derelict ship. It was massive, at least twice the size of the horizon's edge. The corridors twisted and turned in patterns that made no sense to Maya's eyes. "We believe this vessel is approximately 8,000 years old," Venn explained. "It belonged to a civilization called the Korvath Empire. They died out long ago and very little is known about them. What we have discovered suggests this was a prison transport ship." "A prison ship," Maya repeated. "So the thing killing your crew is a prisoner?" "We believe so," one of the other officers said. She was short and round with green fur covering her body. "We sent 3 separate teams into the ship. The first team found cells. Most were empty, but one was open. Whatever was inside had escaped." She pulled up camera footage. The image was grainy and kept breaking up with static. Maya could see a dark corridor with strange symbols on the walls. Then something moved across the screen so fast it was just a blur. "That is the only footage we have," the officer said. "Every other camera near the creature stops working. We think it has some kind of electromagnetic field around it." "How many people has it killed?" Maya asked. 5 dead, 12 injured, 3 missing," Ben said quietly. "We have sealed off the central section of the ship where it seems to be staying. But we need access to the navigation computer in that section. The data inside could tell us about the Korvath civilization and other derelict ships that might be floating in space." Maya studied the map. "Why not just destroy the ship and forget about it?" Ven's skin darkened even more. "Council preservation laws. Ancient artifacts cannot be destroyed without full documentation and study. If I destroy that ship, I will lose my command and possibly face criminal charges. Politics matter, Lieutenant, especially now with humanity's membership status under review." So that was it. Maya was expendable, but the old ship was not. She swallowed her anger and focused on the mission. Getting emotional would not help anyone. "Tell me about the survivors," she said. "Did anyone live after seeing this thing up close?" "One," Venn said. "Dr. Helen. She is in medical recovery now. I can take you to her." The medical bay was crowded with injured crew members. Most had claw marks or bite wounds. The medical staff moved between beds, applying bandages and injecting medicines. Everyone stopped and stared when Maya walked in. Dr. Helen was lying on a bed near the back. She looked like Chirix from the station, but her shell was cracked and broken in several places. Bandages covered most of her body. Her eyes focused on Maya, and her mouth parts started clicking rapidly. "You are the human," Helen whispered. "The Deathworlder they sent to hunt it." "I am," Maya said, pulling up a chair. "I need you to tell me everything you remember." Helen's clicking grew faster. It came from nowhere. One moment the corridor was empty. The next moment it was there, so fast. Faster than anything I have ever seen. It was big, maybe 8 feet tall, with armor-like skin and so many claws. She paused, her whole body shaking. My team leader fired his sonic disruptor. The sound made it angry, so angry. It tore him apart in seconds. Then it killed the others, one by one. We tried to run, but it was too fast. "How did you survive?" Maya asked gently. "I fell and did not move," Helen said. "After it killed everyone else, it came over to me. I could feel its breath on my shell. Hot and wet and smelling like rot. It made a sound almost like it was purring. Then it just walked away. I think it thought I was already dead, so it did not waste energy on me." Maya thought about this. The creature was smart enough to conserve energy. It could tell the difference between a living threat and a dead body. That meant it was intelligent, not just a mindless killer. "Thank you, Doctor," Maya said, standing up. "Rest now." "Wait," Helen called out. "Why are you doing this? You could refuse. You could make them find another way." Maya looked back at the injured alien. "Because if I do not do this, the Council will say humans are too primitive for the galaxy. They will judge my entire species based on what I do in the next few hours. I have to try. She left the medical bay and went to find Captain Venn. He was still in the briefing room, staring at the map of the derelict ship. "I need different weapons," Maya said. Venn looked surprised. "Different? We gave you our best equipment." "The creature hunts by sound," Maya explained. "Loud weapons will just make it attack faster. I need something quiet. Blades, cutting tools, anything that will not make noise. You want to fight it with knives?" Venn's skin went almost black. "That is insane. You would have to get close to it." "That is what humans do, Captain," Maya said calmly. "We are ambush predators. We evolved to hunt animals bigger and stronger than us by getting close and using tools. If you want me to kill this thing, I have to do it the human way." Venn stared at her for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "The equipment bay has maintenance tools. Cutting torches, hull repair blades, emergency axes. Take whatever you need." Maya spent the next hour preparing. She chose a long knife with a diamond edge that could cut through metal. She took a small plasma torch that could be used as a close-range weapon. She grabbed a hatchet designed for cutting through doors during emergencies. She left behind the grenades and the sonic disruptor. When she was ready, she stood at the airlock leading to the derelict ship. A crowd of crew members had gathered to watch. Some looked at her with fear, others with something that might have been respect. Captain Venn stood at the front. "The navigation computer is in the central section, level 3, he said. "Download the data and get out. Do not take unnecessary risks." Maya almost laughed. The entire mission was an unnecessary risk. But she just nodded and sealed her helmet. "One more thing," Venn said. "If you do not return in 6 hours, I am sealing the airlock and cutting the connection. I will not risk my ship for the derelict." "Understood, Captain," Maya said. She stepped into the airlock and waited for it to cycle. As the inner door closed, she took a deep breath. She was about to enter an 8,000-year-old prison ship, to hunt something that had already killed 5 trained soldiers. She was armed with primitive weapons and had no backup plan. But she was human. She was a Deathworlder. And Deathworlders did not give up just because something was dangerous. The outer airlock opened and Maya stepped into the darkness of the derelict ship. Behind her, the door sealed shut with a heavy clang. Ahead of her, somewhere in the black corridors, something was waiting. The hunt had begun. The derelict ship was colder than Maya expected. Her suit's temperature controls kicked in immediately, but she could still feel the chill seeping through. The air inside was stale and thin, barely enough oxygen to register on her sensors. Most species would need full life support in here. Maya's human lungs could manage, at least for a while. Her helmet light cut through the darkness, revealing a corridor that stretched far beyond what she could see. The walls were covered in the same strange symbols she had seen in the briefing footage. They looked like writing, but her translator could not make sense of them. The Korvath language had been dead for thousands of years. Maya moved forward slowly, placing each foot carefully. The floor was covered in dust and debris. Every step left a clear footprint. That was bad. The creature would be able to track her easily. She stopped and thought about that. Maybe leaving tracks was not bad. Maybe she could use it. The corridor split into 3 directions. Maya checked her map display. The left path was blocked by a collapsed ceiling. The right path led to the prison cells. The center path went toward the navigation computer, but it was the longest route. She chose the center path. Speed was not as important as staying alive. As she walked, she started to notice things. Scratch marks on the walls. Deep gouges in the metal that looked fresh despite the ship's age. Burn marks from energy weapons that must have been from Captain Venn's crew. And blood. Dark stains that could have been from several different species. The first body appeared after 10 minutes of walking. It was one of the crew members from the Horizon's Edge, a purple-skinned alien that Maya did not recognize. The environmental suit had been torn open, and the body was positioned against the wall in a sitting position, almost like it was resting. Maya knelt down and examined it closely. The wounds were precise, deep cuts that had killed quickly. This had not been a frenzy attack. The creature had known exactly where to strike. She continued on and found 2 more bodies. Both were arranged the same way, positioned carefully rather than just left where they fell. The creature was displaying them. It was marking its territory and warning others to stay away. That meant it was intelligent. Not just animal smart, but thinking and planning smart. Maya's respect for the danger increased. She was not hunting a wild beast. She was hunting something that could reason and strategize. The corridor opened into a large chamber. Maya's light could not reach the far walls. The ceiling was high above, disappearing into shadow. This must have been a cargo hold or gathering space. She stepped inside carefully, sweeping her light in all directions. Nothing moved. Nothing made sound. But every instinct Maya had was screaming at her that she was not alone. She turned off her light. In the absolute darkness, Maya closed her eyes and listened. This was an old technique that human hunters had used for thousands of years. When you could not see, your other senses became sharper. At first, she heard nothing but her own breathing and heartbeat. Then slowly, other sounds emerged. The faint hum of the ship's residual power, the creak of metal settling, the whisper of air moving through damaged vents, and underneath it all, something else. A soft clicking sound, rhythmic and steady, like someone tapping their fingers against metal. The creature was echolocating. It was using sound to map the room, just like earthbats did. Maya kept perfectly still. She controlled her breathing, slowing it down to almost nothing. She had practiced this during her military training. Humans could lower their heart rate and breathing through will alone. It was a survival trait from the days when early humans had to hide from predators. The clicking moved closer. Maya could track its position by sound. It was circling the room, probably trying to locate her. She had been in the chamber for less than a minute. It must have sensed her entry somehow. The clicking stopped. Maya's muscles tensed. This was the moment before an attack. She had felt it before during training exercises and once during a real combat situation on Earth. That split second when everything balanced on a knife edge. She heard movement, fast and light, coming from her left. Without thinking, Maya dropped and rolled. Something passed through the space where she had been standing, close enough that she felt the air displacement. Her helmet light came back on automatically from the motion. For just a second, Maya saw the creature clearly. It was bigger than Dr. Helen had described, at least 9 feet tall, with a body that looked like it was made of overlapping armor plates. Its head was long and narrow with no eyes that Maya could see. Its mouth was full of teeth like broken glass, forearms ending in claws that looked sharp enough to cut steel. Then the light died. Something in the creature's body was disrupting electronics. That was why the cameras failed. Maya moved in the darkness using memory to navigate. She had seen the room layout in that brief flash of light. There were support pillars scattered throughout the chamber. She could use those for cover. The clicking started again. The creature was recalibrating, searching for her new position. Maya did something that went against all logic. She made noise. She kicked a piece of metal debris, sending it skittering across the floor to her right. The clicking intensified, focusing on the sound. She heard the creature move, its claws scraping against the floor as it rushed toward the noise. While it was distracted, Maya moved left, putting a support pillar between herself and where she thought the creature was. She drew her knife and waited. The clicking changed pattern. The creature had figured out the noise was a trick. It was smart, just like she thought. Time to switch tactics. Maya turned on her helmet light and pointed it directly at where she calculated the creature to be. Even though it had no eyes, it reacted to the light. Maybe it could sense electromagnetic radiation or heat. Whatever the reason, it flinched back. Maya charged. The creature was not expecting an attack. Most prey ran away. Most prey tried to hide. But humans were not most prey. Humans were persistence hunters who had chased down animals for days until they collapsed from exhaustion. Humans were tool users who had killed creatures 10 times their size with nothing but sharp rocks and clever thinking. Maya was a human, and she was done being hunted. Her knife caught the creature in what she hoped was a leg joint. The blade cut deep and black blood sprayed out. The creature shrieked, a sound so loud that Maya's helmet automatically dampened it to prevent hearing damage. She rolled away as claws swept through the space she had occupied. One caught her shoulder, tearing through the outer layer of her suit. Alarms started blaring in her helmet. Pressure loss detected, temperature dropping rapidly. Maya ignored the alarms. She had maybe 5 minutes of air left at most. She had to end this fast. The creature was favoring its injured leg now. Good. She had slowed it down, but it was also angry now. The clicks had changed to something that sounded almost like growling. They circled each other in the darkness, both waiting for an opening. Maya's helmet light flickered, dying from the electromagnetic interference. She was down to just her knife and her own strength. The creature lunged. Maya sidestepped, but not quite fast enough. Claws raked across her ribs, cutting through her suit and into flesh. Pain exploded through her body, white-hot and overwhelming. Maya had broken bones before. She had been shot during a training accident. She had survived a shuttle crash that killed 2 other people. Pain was an old friend. She grabbed the creature's arm as it passed, using its own momentum against it. Her hatchet came up and buried itself in what she hoped was a vital area. The creature screamed again and threw her off. Maya hit a support pillar hard enough to see stars. Her already damaged shoulder screamed in protest, but the creature was hurt too. It was moving slower now and the clicking had become erratic. Maya had damaged something important. She pushed herself up, forcing her body to obey despite the pain. Her medical training kicked in, assessing her injuries automatically. 3 broken ribs, possible lung puncture, massive blood loss, shoulder dislocated again, possible concussion. None of that mattered. She had to finish this. The creature came at her one more time, slower now, but still deadly. Maya waited until the last possible second, then dropped flat. The creature's momentum carried it past her, and as it did, she drove her knife upward with both hands. The blade went in under the armor plates, into the soft tissue beneath. Maya held on and twisted, feeling things tear and break inside the creature's body. It collapsed, taking her down with it. They lay together in the darkness, both bleeding, both dying maybe, neither willing to give up. Finally, the creature's clicking stopped. Its body went still. Maya pushed herself away from it, gasping for air. Her suit was screaming alarms at her. She had 2 minutes of oxygen left and multiple critical injuries. She activated her radio with a shaking hand. "Captain Van, this is Griffin. Threat neutralized. Proceeding to navigation computer." The response was filled with static, but she could hear the disbelief in Ven's voice. "You killed it? How?" "The human way, Captain," Maya said, forcing herself to stand. "Now I need to get that data before I pass out." She stumbled forward, leaving a trail of blood behind her. The navigation computer was close now. She just had to stay conscious long enough to download the data. Just a little further, just a little more. Deathworlders did not give up. Not ever. Maya's legs barely held her weight as she moved through the dark corridors. Each step sent fresh waves of pain through her chest. One of her broken ribs must have shifted because breathing was getting harder. Her medical scanner was going crazy with warnings, but she had muted it. Hearing about all the ways she was dying did not help. The navigation computer room was exactly where the map said it would be. The door was still open from when Captain Ven's crew had tried to reach it days ago. They had made it this far before the creature attacked them. Inside, the room was different from the rest of the ship. The walls here had functioning lights, dim and flickering, but still working after 8,000 years. The Korvath had built things to last. The computer itself was a massive structure in the center of the room. It looked nothing like modern technology. Instead of smooth surfaces and touchscreens, it was all crystal formations and metal coils. Maya had no idea how to interface with it. Her suit computer started automatically scanning for connection ports. After a moment, it found something compatible and extended a data cable. Maya plugged it into a socket that looked vaguely right and hoped for the best. Data started flowing immediately. Her screen filled with information in the Korvath language, which her computer began translating in real time. Most of it was navigation logs, star charts, and cargo manifests. But then something else appeared, a warning. The same warning repeated thousands of times in the logs. Prisoner 07 must not escape containment. Prisoner 07 is classified as Class 15 threat. Prisoner 07 was captured from the Forbidden Moon. All crew must maintain maximum distance. Failure to contain Prisoner 07 will result in immediate ship destruction protocol. Maya felt a chill despite her suit's failing temperature controls. Class 15. Even worse than Earth's Class 14 rating. The creature she had just killed came from somewhere even more dangerous than her homeworld. The data download was at 40%. Maya leaned against the console, trying to stay conscious. Her vision was getting blurry around the edges. She had lost too much blood. More information scrolled across her screen. Details about the Korvath Empire. Their rise and fall, their technology. They had been powerful once, controlling hundreds of star systems. But they had made a mistake. They had tried to study the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy, collecting them from death worlds for research. One of those creatures had escaped. Then another, then more. Within a century, the entire Korvath civilization had collapsed. The prison ships had been scattered across space, forgotten. Their prisoners locked in stasis for thousands of years, until Captain Ven's crew had opened one of those cells, 70% complete. Maya's legs gave out. She slid down the console to the floor, still holding the data cable in place. Her suit was almost out of oxygen now. She could feel herself getting lightheaded. She thought about Earth, about her family who would never know what happened to her if she died here, about humanity's future in the galaxy. If she failed to deliver this data, Captain Van would have to destroy the derelict to cover up the mission. The Council would never know what really happened. They would just see that a human had died on what should have been a simple recovery mission. They would use it as proof that humans were too reckless, too violent, too dangerous to be part of galactic society. 90% complete. Maya's eyes were closing. She forced them open. Just a little longer. Just a little more, 100%. Download complete. She unplugged the cable with shaking hands and activated her radio. Captain Van, data secured. Coming back now, no response. Her radio must be damaged. Or maybe she was too deep in the ship for the signal to reach. Maya pushed herself up, using the console for support. She had to get back to the airlock. Had to deliver this data. Had to prove that humans belonged among the stars. The walk back was a nightmare. Maya could not remember parts of it later. She just kept moving forward, following the markers her suit displayed. Left turn, straight corridor. Right turn. Through the cargo hold where the creature's body lay in a pool of black blood. She kept expecting it to move, to suddenly surge back to life like monsters did in horror movies. But it stayed dead. She had killed it. A human from a Class 14 death world had killed a creature from a Class 15 world. The airlock appeared ahead. Maya had never been so happy to see a door in her life. She stumbled forward and slapped the control panel. Nothing happened. She hit it again harder. Still nothing. Her oxygen read 0. She was running on whatever air remained in the suit itself now, maybe 30 seconds worth. Maya pulled out her plasma torch and cut through the control panel, exposing the manual override mechanism. She cranked the wheel with both hands, her muscles screaming in protest. The door opened. Maya fell through into the connecting tube. The airlock on the horizon's edge side opened immediately. Captain Van and a medical team were waiting. "Get her to medical now," Van ordered. Hands grabbed Maya, lifting her onto a stretcher. Someone removed her helmet and she gasped in the fresh air. "The data," Maya said, fumbling with her suit computer. "I got the data." "We have it," Van said, running alongside the stretcher. "You transmitted it when you reached the airlock. Just rest now." Maya closed her eyes. She had done it. The mission was complete. The medical bay was chaos. Dr. Helen was there despite her own injuries, directing the other doctors. They cut away Maya's damaged suit and started working immediately. She heard them talking in worried voices about blood loss and organ damage and infection risk. "Her bone density is incredible," one doctor said. "The ribs are broken, but they are not shattered. Any other species would have bone fragments everywhere." "Look at the healing rate," another said. "The smaller wounds are already closing. I have never seen anything like this." "She has redundant organs," Helen said. "I read about humans after my encounter. They have backup kidneys, backup lungs in a sense. Their bodies are designed to survive catastrophic damage." Maya drifted in and out of consciousness as they worked. She felt the sharp pain of needles injecting medicine, the pulling sensation of wounds being closed, the grinding feeling of her shoulder being reset properly. At one point, she heard Captain Ven talking to someone over a communication channel. "Yes, Council Security Office, I am certain. The human killed the creature single-handedly. She sustained multiple life-threatening injuries but completed the mission objective. The data is now being analyzed by our xenoarchaeology team. The Council will want a full report," a voice responded. It sounded like Commander Kael'thor. "And they will want to examine the creature's body." "The body has been secured," Ven replied. "We are towing the derelict to Station Theta 7 now. But Commander, you need to see this data. The Korvath Empire fell because they tried to capture and study Deathworld creatures. This ship was a prison transport carrying the most dangerous beings in the galaxy. If there are more ships like this floating in space, then we have a serious problem," Kael'thor finished. "I will notify the Council immediately. And Captain, good work. The human, too." Maya felt a small sense of satisfaction even through the pain. She had proven herself. Now the galaxy would have to acknowledge that humans could be useful, not just dangerous. Hours passed. The doctors finished their work and stepped back. Maya's injuries had been stabilized. She would live, though recovery would take time. Captain Ven came to stand beside her bed. His skin was its normal pale blue now. no longer darkened by stress. "The Council Security Office has been reviewing the footage from your helmet camera," he said quietly. "They are calling an emergency session to discuss the implications, both about the derelict ships and about humanity." "What are they going to decide?" Maya asked, her voice hoarse. Ben tilted his head in what might have been the Pelthian equivalent of a shrug. "I do not know, but I can tell you what I think. I think the galaxy needs Deathworlders, not as weapons or threats, but as protectors. There are dangers out here that normal species cannot face. We need beings who evolved to survive the impossible." He paused. "You could have died in there, Lieutenant. You nearly did die, but you completed the mission anyway. That is not recklessness. That is courage. And courage is something the galaxy has been lacking." Maya managed a weak smile. "Are you saying you like having a Deathworlder on your crew?" "I am saying I hope humanity chooses to stay," Ven replied. "We could use more beings like you." He left her to rest. Maya stared at the ceiling, thinking about everything that had happened. She had been rejected by a medical scanner, labeled as dangerous, and sent on a suicide mission to prove her species' worth. And she had succeeded. Not despite being a Deathworlder, but because of it. The galaxy was going to have to make room for humanity, whether they liked it or not. Maya spent 3 days recovering in the medical bay of the Horizon's Edge. 3 days of doctors checking her constantly, amazed at how fast her body was healing. What would have taken other species weeks or months was happening in days for her. Her broken ribs were already knitting back together. The deep cuts across her chest had closed and were forming scars. "Your biology is remarkable," Dr. Helen said on the 3rd day, examining Maya's shoulder. "The speed of cellular regeneration is far beyond anything we have in our medical databases. Even with our best healing technology, injuries like yours would take a normal being 2 months to recover from." "How long for me?" Maya asked. "At your current rate, perhaps 2 weeks for full mobility," Helen replied. "And that is with minimal medical intervention. Your body is doing most of the work itself." Maya nodded. She had always taken healing for granted. Back on Earth, everyone knew someone who had recovered from terrible injuries. Broken bones, torn muscles, even organ damage. Humans bounced back from things that should have killed them. It was just normal. But here in the galaxy, it was exceptional. It was Deathworlder biology. On the 4th day, Captain Ven came to see her. He looked different somehow, less nervous around her, maybe even comfortable. "The Council has reached a decision," he said, sitting in the chair beside her bed. "Commander Kael'thor will be making an announcement in 1 hour. He has asked that you be present for it." "Can you walk?" Maya tested her legs. They were sore but functional. "I can manage." Ven led her through the ship to the bridge. The crew members they passed still looked at her with caution, but now there was something else in their expressions too. Respect, maybe, or at least acknowledgement that she had saved their ship. The bridge was larger than Maya expected, with stations for navigation, weapons, engineering, and communications arranged in a circle around the captain's chair. A large view screen dominated one wall, currently showing the image of Commander Kael'thor in his office on Station Theta 7. "Ah, Lieutenant Griffin," Kael'thor said when he saw her. "I am pleased to see you have recovered. Please stand where the camera can see you clearly." Maya moved to stand beside Captain Ven. The red warning badge was gone from her collar now, replaced with a standard visitor identification. "Captain Ven, are the other bridge officers present?" Kael'thor asked. "Yes, Commander," Ven confirmed. "All senior staff are here." "Good, I want everyone to hear this." Kael'thor's scales brightened, shifting through rainbow colors. "The Galactic Council Security Division has completed its review of the incident aboard the derelict vessel. We have examined Lieutenant Griffin's actions, analyzed the data recovered from the ship's computer, and studied the remains of the creature she killed." He paused, looking directly at Maya through the screen. "Lieutenant, the creature you faced was a Ravager from the moon of Talvex 9, classified as a Class 15 Deathworld environment. Ravagers are considered the most dangerous predator species known to exist. They are faster, stronger, and more intelligent than almost any other life form. 300 years ago, a single Ravager escaped containment on a research station and killed 147 beings before it was finally stopped by a full military battalion." Maya felt the weight of those words. 147 beings, and she had killed one alone. "You did not just complete your mission," Kael'thor continued. You accomplished something that military tacticians considered nearly impossible. You survived an encounter with a Ravager and defeated it using nothing but basic weapons and your own capabilities. You have proven that humans, while classified as Deathworlders, can use their abilities for protection rather than destruction. The bridge was completely silent. Every crew member was staring at Maya now. The Council has reviewed humanity's provisional membership status, Kelthor said. After extensive debate and consideration of all evidence, the Council has voted to grant humanity full membership in the galactic community, effective immediately. Maya felt her knees go weak. Full membership. Not provisional, not restricted, not probationary. Full membership. However, there are conditions, Kelthor added. All humans entering service in galactic military or security positions must complete Deathworlder integration training. This training will help both humans and other species learn to work together safely and effectively. Additionally, Earth will establish a cultural exchange program to help the galaxy understand human society and values. We accept these conditions, Maya said quickly. Thank you, Commander. Kelthor's scales flickered with what might have been amusement. There is one more thing, Lieutenant. The Council has created a new position, Deathworlder Liaison Officer. This position will coordinate between humanity and the galactic community, helping to manage situations where Deathworlder capabilities may be needed. The Council has voted unanimously to offer this position to you. Maya blinked in surprise. Me, but I am just a junior lieutenant. Surely there are more qualified people. You are the human who single-handedly killed a Ravager, Kelthor said. You are the human who completed an impossible mission while severely injured. You are the human who proved that your species deserves a place among the stars. I cannot think of anyone more qualified. Captain Venn spoke up. Lieutenant Griffin, I hope you will consider accepting. Having a Deathworlder liaison would benefit not just humanity, but all of us. There are threats in this galaxy that require someone with your unique perspective and abilities. Maya thought about it. She had joined the Galactic Expeditionary Forces to explore, to learn, to represent humanity. This new position would let her do all of that and more. I accept, she said. I would be honored to serve as Deathworlder Liaison Officer. Kelthor nodded. Excellent. Your official appointment will be processed immediately. Welcome to full galactic citizenship, Lieutenant, and welcome to your new role. The transmission ended. The bridge erupted in conversation as crew members discussed what they had just heard. Captain Venn extended his hand to Maya. Congratulations, he said. Though I admit I will miss having you as part of my crew. I will still be working with the Horizon's Edge, Maya said, shaking his hand carefully. Someone needs to make sure Deathworlders and everyone else can work together peacefully. Over the next few hours, Maya received messages from Earth. Her family was celebrating. The entire planet was celebrating. Humanity had achieved full membership in the galactic community. They were no longer the primitive newcomers. They were recognized equals. But with that recognition came responsibility. Maya understood that she was now representing not just herself but her entire species. Every action she took would be watched and judged. That night, alone in her quarters, Maya composed a long report about everything that had happened. She wrote about the medical rejection, about being labeled as dangerous, about the mission to kill the Ravager. She wrote about what she had learned about Deathworlders and why the galaxy feared them. But most importantly, she wrote about what it meant to be human, to come from a world that actively tried to kill its inhabitants, to develop the ability to heal from terrible injuries and endure impossible pain, to be both predator and protector, both dangerous and compassionate. Humans were Deathworlders. That was simply fact. But being a Deathworlder did not make them monsters. It made them survivors. It made them strong. And in a galaxy full of dangers that most species could not face, maybe that strength was exactly what was needed. Maya sent the report and settled into her bed. Tomorrow she would begin her new duties as Deathworlder Liaison Officer. Tomorrow she would start building bridges between humanity and the thousands of other species in the galaxy. But tonight, she allowed herself to feel proud. She had gone from being rejected as too dangerous to being recognized as exactly what the galaxy needed. She had proven that humans belonged among the stars. The galaxy had called humans Deathworlders, expecting it to be an insult or a warning. Instead, humanity had embraced it. They were Deathworlders. They came from a world that made them strong, resilient, and capable of facing dangers that would break others. And now the galaxy would learn what it truly meant to have Deathworlders as allies instead of enemies. They would learn that the same traits that made humans dangerous also made them loyal protectors, fierce defenders, and unwavering friends. Maya smiled as she closed her eyes. The future was going to be interesting. The galaxy had no idea what it had just accepted into its community, but they would learn. In time, they would all learn. Humanity had finally found its place among the stars, not as the weakest species struggling to survive, but as Deathworlders who had conquered their own hostile planet and were now ready to face whatever challenges the universe could throw at them. And Maya Griffin, the human who had been rejected by a medical scanner and then went on to kill the most dangerous predator in known space, would be there to guide them through it all. The age of humanity in the galaxy had truly begun.